Hey guys, it's Union, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how many soldiers Russia has in Ukraine and which armies are there. To start off with, Russia has 4 military districts: the Western Military District, Southern Military District, Central and Eastern Military Districts. The Northern Fleet and Joint Arctic Command is purely naval, so it's not involved in the Ukraine war. Now, how are the Russian battalion tactical groups usually set up? They contain parts of a tank division, a mechanized BTR division, and a mechanized BMP division. Now, there are two types of units Russia has in, or three types of units Russia has in Ukraine. The first one is tank divisions, the second one is battalion tactical groups, and the third one is Coast Guards and Marines. Now, tank divisions are usually set up of purely tanks with a few BMPs and BTRs, but mainly tanks. And they are mainly used to break through defenses, especially in Ukraine, where it's used to break through the fortified positions that the Ukrainians have prepared for the last 8 years. As for BTRs, they are usually used in urban and forest areas to defeat soldiers that are hiding between buildings and trees, as they are set up in a way that have high maneuverability and flexibility, which allows them to fight in such areas. And finally, BMP tactical groups, which are mostly used to set up a front line and defend infantry and make sure that no breakthroughs happen the other way around, and make sure like it's a defensive tactical group. Now all of these have, all of them, the tank division may have main battle tanks and BTRs and BMPs and self-propelled artillery and so on. And the same with the two others. The difference is just how much and in the way they're set up. As for which Russian units are in Ukraine, the first is the 41st Combined Arms Army of the Central Military Districts. From this army, there is about 70,000 Russian soldiers in Ukraine throughout the conflict. At one point, I'm not sure. As of right now, there's probably a bit less since they have suffered casualties, but there's also been rotations, so it might be the same. I don't know for sure. But about the 70,000 mark, and about 700 BMPs, BTRs, artillery, and tanks, and so on. Heavy equipment, there's about 700. A standard measure is about 100 heavy weapons for every 10,000 soldiers. Now, as for the Southern Military District, there are two participating armies. The first one is the 8th Guards Combined Arms Army in the Southern Military District. From this, there's also 70,000 soldiers as well as 700 heavy equipment. And the second army from the Southern Military District is the Black Sea Fleet, which isn't an army group or an army. It is somewhere between a division and an army, and it has about 20,000 soldiers in Ukraine. And these are mostly stationed around Crimea and blockading Ukraine from the sea. Now, as for the Western Military District, there's the 20th Guards Combined Arms Army of the Western Military District, which consists of about 500 heavy equipment and 50,000 soldiers in Ukraine. And finally, there's the Eastern Military District, where there is participating the 29th Combined Arms Army of the Eastern Military District, again with about 700 heavy equipment and 70,000 soldiers. Now, that altogether means that Russia has at one point between 250 and 300,000 soldiers, depending on how much they rotate and so on. It could even go down to 200,000. but around this area is how much they have right now with their supported equipment and so on. This explains how, according to the Austrian colonel, in a YouTube video, I'm going to link it down below, he mentions in his video that Russians currently, or it was a month ago, outnumbered the Ukrainians 2-1 in the Donbas region. Now that's all for this presentation. All in all together, we have about 200 to 300,000 Russian soldiers in Ukraine, about 2,000 to 3,000 heavy equipment, as well as Iskander missiles, Tornado-S multi-rocket launchers, main battle tanks ranging from T-60s to T-90s, and so on. This is without counting the militia groups, so the Allied forces altogether could be around 350,000. So in essence, if depending on how many Ukrainian soldiers there are, the Russians could outnumber in the whole front line the Ukrainians, and they could also be about the same, or they could be a bit lower, as there have been some reports that Ukraine has about 400,000 soldiers, but there's also been reports that they have about 200,000. While the losses I'm not going to go into, as that is very uncertain in times of war. This is much easier to go into, as we know which armies and which army groups are participating in the war. Now that's all for this video. Hope you enjoyed, and remember to subscribe and leave a like. Thanks for watching.